At Jiusi's subtle signal, Lu Yuru forced a smile at Madame Zifeng and stopped trying to intervene in the gambling match.
Before the 5th round started, Jiusi made a request. He wanted Luo Yuru to be the one to roll the dice.
Madame Zifeng, surprisingly, agreed.
But even with the change, the 6th round came and went, and Jiusi lost again. Still, he insisted on continuing. This time, Madame Zifeng hesitated. She knew Jiusi was a master at discerning the dice by sound. He had lost 6 times in a row, but each time he had intentionally chosen the wrong outcome. This revealed a depth and strength that was truly frightening. She suspected he was baiting her, luring her into a 7th and final round. If they played that last round, the stakes would be so high that no one could possibly pay the debt. The consequence would be severe physical harm, a maiming. If she conceded now, their scores would simply cancel each other out. But if she continued, she faced complete financial ruin, a disaster she could never explain to her master. Just as Lu Yuru was about to reveal the dice, Madame Zifeng suddenly stood up. "I surrender," she declared. The onlooking crowd, their excitement instantly deflated, began to disperse. Thanks to Jiusi's calculated risk, all 6 of Zhou Yi's cousin Ayu's previous losses were completely wiped away. On the carriage ride home, Jiusi revealed the truth to Li Yu. Yuru was no ordinary person. Jiusi suspected he was the son of Fan Zhiwan, the powerful military governor of Yuru. He then turned to Yuru, his voice full of curiosity, and asked why she trusted him so completely, without question. Her heartfelt and honest reply left him silent, a deep emotion stirring within him. Meanwhile, Madame Zifeng reported back to her master, a man named Luo Zishang. Even though their plan to trap the young master of Yojo in the gambling den had failed, Luo Zishang wasn't angry. He knew this mission wasn't going to be simple. Otherwise, he wouldn't have traveled 1,000 miles to Yangzhou himself. He simply instructed Zifeng to ensure she did not fail in their next attempt. Later, Jiusi and Lu Yuru met with Zhou De at the Kui Ming Tower. As Jiusi explained the intricacies of what happened at the gambling den, Lu Yuru finally understood. Madame Zifeng had been gambling on the numbers on the dice, but Jiusi had been gambling on something far more complex: human nature. Zhou V was deeply impressed. He told Jiusi that with his talent, achieving fame and success was just a matter of time. This trip to Yangzhou had been an eye-opener for Zhou. He saw firsthand how Yangzhou's prosperity far surpassed anything Yojo had to offer. Jiusi explained that Yojo's poverty wasn't just due to its difficult terrain, but also its undeveloped commerce. He pointed out that the constant warfare between Yojo and the neighboring state of Beiliang was not about power or territory. At its core, it was a fight for survival, for people to simply have enough to eat. Zhou, though, was moved. Despite living a life of comfort and privilege,
Jiusi could see into the hearts of ordinary people and understand their struggles. He was truly glad to have made a friend like him.
Under the bright moonlight, they drank and talked freely. In a moment of shared camaraderie, Jiusi, Zhou, and Liu Yuru swore an oath of brotherhood, becoming sworn siblings. Having had a lot to drink, Jiusi's true feelings spilled out. He confessed to Liu Yuru that today, at the gambling den, was the first time in his life he had ever felt truly afraid. He made her a solemn promise. He would become a capable and responsible man, someone who could shield her from all the storms of life. All he asked was that she never regret marrying him. Without a moment's hesitation, Lu Yuru looked him in the eye and said, "I won't regret it." The very next day, a resolute Lu Yuru spoke with her mother-in-law Jiang Ro. She had made a decision. She would leave Yangzhou with the Jiu family. And what's more, she had her own suggestion for where they should go. In the days that followed, the entire Jiu household was consumed by one thing: Jiusi's upcoming provincial examination. Zhang Rou and Liu Yuru were at the temple, praying for his success. They tried to drag him along, but he cheekily ran off. His father, Zhu was far from encouraging. He was convinced his son was going to fail, which only annoyed Jiusi even more. Zhang Rou had to remind her husband to be more supportive. But then, Gu Langhua showed her a stack of Uzi's practice paper stack. Characters were messy, crooked, and barely legible. Still, Jiu Langhua decided to take a different approach. He issued a new household rule. From that day forward, no one was allowed to use words like fail or low. They could only speak of high and middle scores. To top it all off, he had the kitchen prepare success cakes for Jiusi. After days of eating nothing but these auspicious pastries, Jiusi was thoroughly sick of them.
Finally, the day of the exam arrived. Drowned in his family's repeated encouragement and endless instructions, Jiusi set off.
At the examination hall, he saw his friend Yang Wencheng also being sent off by his parents. Yang Wencheng's mother was so anxious that she actually tried to follow him into the examination cubicle, and he had to quickly stop her. With a final wave, Jiusi walked towards the gates. After 9 grueling days, the autumn provincial exam finally ended. As Jiusi returned home, his wife Lu Yuru, ever thoughtful, had already given the servants a day off with generous rewards. While the entire household rested, Lu Yuru alone was still poring over the account books. Jiusi, feeling a pang of affection, sat beside her and began feeding her. As he did, a sudden, dreadful memory struck him. He'd used the wrong character in a critical part of his exam essay. For Lu Uru, his success or failure in the exam was secondary. They were set to leave for Yojo in just 2 months anyway. He could always take the exam again in 3 years. Besides, Yojo had fewer scholars, so he might even have an easier time standing out. But Jiusi was proud. He had no desire to be a big fish in a small pond. He wanted to prove his worth on his own terms. Meanwhile, his mother, Jiang Rou, and father, Jiu Langhua, were having a heartfelt chat. Jiu Langhua expressed his wish to live a long, long life, long enough to see Jiusi with children and even grandchildren of his own. Jiusi, however, felt cooped up after months of intense study. He changed into his hunting gear, ready to let off some steam in the wild. But just as he was about to leave, his father summoned him. There was a problem. The rent from their 6 estates outside the city hadn't been collected, and the new year was only 2 months away.
Zhang Rou worried they would likely be in Yojo by then, making the rent impossible to collect.
Zhu Langhua lamented the loss of their land and assets, things his wife had worked so hard to accumulate over the years. He had intended to discuss the family's dire situation with his son, but seeing Jiusi dressed for a hunt, his resolve faltered. He couldn't bring himself to spoil his son's rare moment of relaxation. But Jiusi wasn't oblivious. He sensed the tension and grew suspicious. He quietly crept back and listened outside his parents' door, and the truth hit him like a ton of bricks. The Jiu family was in serious trouble. Immediately, he canceled his hunting trip and headed out to inspect the family's shops and businesses on the street. He was determined to understand the full extent of their crises. At the same time, Lu Yujira was making her own moves. She instructed their steward to spend a large sum of money to purchase a massive amount of merchandise. Her maid, Yin Hong, was completely baffled. Why were they spending so much when things were tight?
Lu Yuru explained with a mysterious calm.
Sometimes, you have to throw away money to make money.
Witnessing his wife's decisive and seemingly counterintuitive actions, Jiusi had an epiphany. He realized he had much to learn from her. From that day forward, he decided he would stay by her side, follow her lead, and learn the art of navigating the treacherous world of business and politics.
While the Jiu family was secretly preparing for their escape, their enemies were plotting.
Wang Gusheng, backed by the enigmatic Luo Zishang, was gloating. He was confident that by next spring, he would not only recover his investment, but multiply it tenfold, even 100-fold, by crushing the Jiu family.
But Luo Zishang quickly poured cold water on his ambitions.
he revealed that the Jiu family was already in the process of transferring their assets.
Wang Shengquan couldn't believe it.
His own spies had just reported that the Jiu family was expanding their operations, stockpiling goods with huge amounts of capital. It looked like business as usual, if not better. To prove his point, Luo Zishang produced a secret letter from the eastern capital. It was undeniable proof. The Jiu family was indeed moving their assets to Yuru.
Luo Zishang advised Wang Shengquan to wait just one more month before making his move. The trap was being set, but not for whom Wang Shengquan thought.
Under the guise of a religious offering, Lu, Yu, Yuru, and Yin Hong went to a temple. There, in a seemingly chance encounter, she met her mother, Suwan. Lu Yu Yuru quickly ushered her mother into a carriage, setting off for the Shi family pond in Jinling.
It was a long journey, a full day's trip, round trip,
and news of her departure made her father-in-law, Zhu visibly anxious. Inside the carriage, Lu Yuru finally revealed the truth to her mother. The Jiu family was leaving Yangzhou for good, and she desperately wanted her mother to come with them. But Su Wan, now known as Madame Liu, hesitated. She had too many ties, too many responsibilities, and she didn't want to be talked. Su Wan couldn't help but notice how much her daughter had changed, how much she had grown. Their journey took them to the dilapidated Su family ancestral home, a place filled with memories. As they wandered through the overgrown courtyard, Lu Yuru's eyes caught something glinting on an old tree, a pair of moonstones. The sight instantly transported her back to a memory of Luo Zishang, who had once offered her a pair of exquisite moonstone earrings at the Qiming Tower. The connection felt uncanny. Unbeknownst to her, Luo Zishang was watching her every move. His spy reported that Liu Yu had gone straight to Jin. Luo Zishang knew exactly where she had gone, to that very ancestral home.
With a knowing smile, he revealed a secret. He was the one who had placed those moonstones on the tree.
Back at the ancestral home, a seed of suspicion began to grow in Luo Uru's mind. She turned to her mother and asked about the Luo family who used to live next door.
She had a faint, fragmented memory of a boy her age from that family.
But Suwan quickly denied it, claiming she had no such recollection. Meanwhile, the news of Luya Yuru's trip had reached other ears.
Wang Rang, another figure in this complex web, learned she had left the city and frantically sought out Luo Zishang for answers.
Luo Zishang, ever calm and in control, simply assured him that Liu Yuru and her mother would likely return that very night. Everything was proceeding exactly as he had planned. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more episodes.